Hello Flosstube Friends, today is Wednesday, February 11th, 2026. My name is Audrey Marine and this is a channel all about cross stitch. I have several things to show you today. I've made progress on quite a few whips, kind of been making a point to pull out some older ones and put a few threads into those while still keeping up with the new ones. I have started a couple new things since I spoke with you guys last, so I will just go ahead and get into it. The first thing I have in front of me is Mary Wigglesworth. This is a Hands Across the Sea Samplers piece that I started last fall. I believe I started this in August. And I went gung-ho on it right away and probably worked on it for a couple weeks, made a lot of good progress on it, came all the way down one side, but then put it away for several months and didn't make any progress on it. So I decided to pull it out because I figured it was probably only 2 or 3 weeks away from being completed. So what I did was, let's see, when you saw it last, it looked kind of like this. But what I did in recent weeks was I finished the top. So you see that I still have a few berries missing up here, but that's okay. I carried the text all the way across, put in those crowns, and even that one single little stitch right there. And then I finished that band, the floral band there. Now I am using the called for 100.3 silks on a 46 count linen. This is Thornfield by Needle and Flax. And I think it offers, it kind of looks like old paper, you know, that gives it that parchment look. A little bit of aging, but it's not really aggressive, not too overpowering. And I love the colors in Mary Wigglesworth. I think they pop really nicely. They all work together and then they work well on this fabric, in my opinion. You can see I've got one hanging thread. I had started this little wavy band here and then was putting in the tiny little flowers on it, but reached a point where I ran out of the band. So I just need to bring that over and then I can finish those little peach flowers and trim off that thread. But it's nice to know that I would say I'm probably about halfway through this project because I've gotten that big chunk of the top done and then the motifs all down that one side. So I think I am about halfway done. So if I put in just a couple more weeks of work on this, I think should be done. So definitely should be a finish this year, hopefully even before the summer. But that is Mary Wigglesworth. She is widely available. You can get her from the Hats website, or you should even be able to find it from your local store. All right, next I have, this will be a new start. Now, in my plans video, I discussed Maria Wales Newson, 1838. This is being run as a year-long stitch-along in the Friends of Hands Across the Sea Samplers Facebook group by a lady named Judy. She has broken it up, and she is actually working with Nicola Parkman because whoever finishes the monthly assignments as we go along throughout the year is entered to win a drawing, and and the winner would get a prize from Nicola. I think it's a voucher to Hands Across the Sea Samplers that you have a possibility of winning quarterly, and then I think there's a larger prize at the end of the year for those who have finished the entire thing to be entered to win. But this is a very large sampler, and Judy, the woman who is running the stitch along, she has broken it up into, well, January, February, and March have been very large assignments. They will get smaller as the year goes on. She said she did that on purpose. And if you are interested in following along people's progress, you can go ahead to the Facebook group. Or if you are interested in joining the stitch along yourself and you want to know what the assignments are, I would head over there. But let me show you what I have so far. I did complete January's assignment and I am almost done with the February portion. I admit that I feel already a little burnt out on Maria. So I was hoping to finish the February section yesterday and then be able to put her away until almost the end of March, because the January assignment and the March assignment are going to be almost identical. So one and then February, and then the next month. So, you know, January, February, March, obviously January and March are almost the same. So I thought, well, having finished January in however many days it took me to complete it, I knew that I just needed to reserve like about that many days, maybe a couple more at the end of March in order to finish her on time, finish the March segment on time. But I didn't end up finishing the February section yesterday as I hoped. And even though I didn't finish it, I still just had to put it away. So I gave her a good iron, and I will pull her out again next week, because honestly, all that I have left to fill in are 2 little birds, one here, you know, one on either side, and then 2 tiny little plants. I don't even know if you'd call them flowers or trees or what, but so you can see that I've done the section of the border that I need to do. I've done the entire verse that is over 1 and 4-sided stitch. I've done this entire motif and these 2 birds. So all I'm missing are 1, 2, 3, 4 small motifs. So it won't take me long to complete. I just feel that I need a break from her. I am using the called for 100.3 silks on a 46 count linen from Tabby Cat. This is lichen. This is what was used for the model. And I'll admit that the color palette is not my favorite. Of all the things that I've been working on lately, yeah, this just isn't pulling my attention. So I'm happy to have done this so far. And like I said, I really don't have that much left to finish the February assignment, so I will go ahead and do that. But yeah, not completely in love with the color palette. I think for me, it's a lot of Kelly green and a lot of yellow, and that's just not my jam. So, but the design is really pretty. The design is really pretty. This verse right here, I stitched it as charted, but I've seen a friend that I was texting with yesterday. She started the verse, I think it was yesterday or maybe just shortly before that, and she's actually changing the verse to suit her. She said that she had seen somebody change it. Somebody shared their changes in the Facebook group, and actually I like what she's doing better, but I've already got this in. It ain't coming out, so I just have it stitched as is. And if you are stitching this, or you're working on a piece that has any over 1 stitching or 4-sided stitches, I do have videos on my channel, one about over 1 stitching that I did last fall. I think it came out in September. And then the video that I put out just last week was about over 4-sided stitches, and I used Maria here as an example. I worked on this line across the bottom, and then I did one of those letters to show you 4-sided stitches aren't scary, and they add a really cool dimension to your stitching. And they do show up occasionally in samplers. Not every sampler. And like if you really hate them or you don't like how they look, you can just change them out for regular crosses. So, but happy with that so far, but definitely need a break from Maria. You know how I think even with projects that I am really excited about, sometimes you just need a break. You just want to work on something a little bit different. And I've never been, not really, once I got into samplers, I was never a monogamous stitcher. When I was working on only Christmas ornaments before I really got into this whole world, then yeah, I would start a Christmas ornament, a Mill Hill kit, and I would work on that until it was done, and then I would start another one. But this chart here is widely available, and if you are interested in joining the stitch along, you are welcome to do that at any time throughout the year. But if you want to be entered for drawings, you have to complete the given assignment within that month and then post your progress to the Facebook group. Okay, next up, yes, I have a pile of charts here, and I just want to make sure that that is what's on top of this pile is what's on top of that pile. Now this is something that I showed on my last Flosstube video. This is from Fox and Rabbit. This is Elizabeth Grice, one of the projects we were given at Sampler Symposium earlier this year. I fell in love with the model and had to start it right away when I got home. Love the colors, love the funky basket, and the weird striped polka dotted butterflies. I am using the called for 103s. There are a couple substitutions that Karen and Bren provided us because 2 of the called for colors weren't available. So I say I'm using the called for, I'm using the kit that they gave us, but I am not using the fabric that was provided. They provided a 40 count linen, and with 103s, I prefer to use 46 count or 56 count. So I found a 46 count in my stash. This is 46 count light hazelnut from XG Design. And last you guys saw, I had started this butterfly. And so since then, I finished the butterfly. I added this berry basket, berry bowl, whatever you want to call it, brought down the border a bit, and added this flower here. And I finished this little thing here. So I haven't added a ton, but made progress, put a couple days into it, and I'm very happy with it. I love the bright colors. The blue and the hot pinky red work well together. And I love how it pops on this linen. This, I would say, is pretty true to color. Yeah. So what they included was, I want to say it was a hog bristle. I'm not sure, I don't remember, but it was a 40 count kind of tan linen like this. So I went through my stash. I had a couple possibilities, but this one I thought worked best with the colors. Light hazelnut is a great option for a lot of samplers. It's a great basic tan color and easy to get. So you can order directly from XG Design on Etsy, but also a lot of shops carry her linens as well. And Elizabeth Grice, this is an exclusive to Sampler Symposium, but I'm sure it will be released by Fox and Rabbit in a year, or it may be released at Market in 2027. I'm not sure. Next, I have Mary Hillier. This is another Hands Across the Sea samplers piece. This is a Bristol Orphanage sampler. Big sampler, all red. Stitch count is 286 by 328, and this isn't even the biggest one that has been reproduced. I am using the called for 103s, which is 681. It's a very bright red, and I'm stitching this on a 56 count linen. I'm using 56 count cockle shell. So when last I showed this, which was a while ago, I know, I had stitched the entire top line and a little bit of this down here, and then I had stitched to the W on this line. So within just the last couple days, I started at the X and came all the way to the end of this row and then added 2 letters down here. So, you know, I haven't added a ton, but now I have 2 complete rows, and there are, if I remember correctly, there are 15 rows of alphabets. And then there, of course, are all these motifs down here that I'll have to get to. But 2 out of 15 rows of alphabets completed. I think that's pretty good. And you can see that the alphabets up here on the top are much larger than those in this section here. When you get into here, these are going to take a little bit longer just because they're thicker, they're bolder letters. But I know this stuff in here will go so quickly. And I carry between my letters. I don't start and stop my thread at each letter, so it will go very quickly for me. I don't like to carry more than 2 stitches, but honestly, I will if it means that I can save myself those couple extra knots. But I was pleased that when I pulled this out, I had a lot of fun with it. Getting that first few stitches in, after not having worked on it in, I don't even know how long, I was sort of feeling like, oh my God, this is going to take forever. But actually, as I sat and worked for a couple hours, I saw progress really quickly, and I was so pleased, especially when I got to these letters. I mean, those went really quickly, and it was really fun to do. So I just need to make a point to put a thread into this every now and again. A thread, you know, of course it depends on the type of alphabet, but a thread might get me 2 letters, not something. And as I say, you know, as we get down into here, these letters are a lot smaller and they're going to require far fewer stitches than these big ones up here, so it should go quickly. And You can see that I already started to stitch kind of down this side just a little bit. I think what I will do is I will work across here, but for each thread I put across here, I might then, the next time I pick it up and put my hoop on it, you know, work down and then work over and then work down and work over and work down and so on and so forth. So that way, at a certain point, I will be able to go back and forth between alphabets and motifs. I don't want to do all of the alphabets first and only then, when they're done, get into the motifs. This is really pretty. And I have a couple more Bristols that I would really like to start. I don't want to have 3 or 4 Bristol samplers all going at once, but I think 2 would be okay. I'd like to make more progress on this one and then maybe start one of those others that I have. But 56 count cockle shell from Tabby Cat Linen with 681. That is the 103 that I'm using on that. And she says on the booklet here that, you know, because it's such a large sampler, the stitch count, as I say, is 286 by 328. Even on 46 count, using just 1 strand, you are going to need 3 spools of 103. So since I'm stitching this on 56 count, excuse me, I know that my stitches are smaller and require less thread than those stitches on 46 count. So I did just buy 3 spools. I figured if she's using 3 spools on 46 count, then I should be able to get away with 3 spools on a 56 count and still have plenty left over. So Mary Hillier, widely available. This one's been out for a few years. And if you are interested in Bristol samplers, there is a Bristol event coming up at the Attic in May, I believe it is. I think it's around Memorial Day weekend. So if you are interested in going to an event all about Bristol samplers, that may be something you want to look into. And there are so many Bristol samplers that have been reproduced. I mean, Hands Across the Sea Samplers has reproduced, I don't know, half a dozen maybe at this point, give or take. But then there are other reproductionists that have reproduced them as well. So if you're interested in starting a Bristol, I don't know, just take a look and see what's out there. There might be, because they all have kind of the same look, you know, when you see one, you're like, oh yeah, that's a Bristol. But some of them, you know, this motif that you don't like, well, you can look for one that doesn't have it, or if you really want one with a cow on it, or you really want one with a Bible on it or something, you can look for Bristol samplers that have those particular items that you're looking for. Okay, so that is Mary Hillier. Maybe not gonna get done this year. It'd be nice if we did, though. I say we. It'd be nice if she and I finished with each other this year. Yeah, that would be really nice. Okay, the next one that I have is very, very tiny. Very, very tiny. And I put the thread away for this, but this is the Ruby Pemberton Sampler Pillow. And this is a chart that I was given. A friend of mine was destashing a bunch of stuff, and she just kind of gave me, you know, here's a pile of stuff. And I had previously sifted through all that, and some of it is going to be given away or destashed or whatever. And then some of it made its way into my drawers of sampler charts and, you know, other charts. And it was, when did I do this? Last week, I think it was. I really wanted a new start. I wanted to start a big giant sampler, but I thought, no, Audrey, let's not do that. You got enough going as it is. So I was kind of rifling through just to see what I had, and I had completely forgotten about this. So I pulled it out, I looked at the stitch count, so tiny, and I thought, well, I could do this in, I told myself I could do it in a day. I didn't do it in a day, it did take me a couple days, but it was really fun. I just used a scrap of 56 that I had left over from other projects. This is 56 count. I believe this is Dirty Teacup from Needle and Flax. It looks to me like Dirty Teacup, and it makes sense that I would have a scrap of this because I did have a much larger piece of 56 count Dirty Teacup, and I have cut into that for several projects, so I'm sure that that is what this is. And I used a painter's thread. I used the color Frida, which is a slightly variegated, very hot red pink. And I stitched it just as charted. And it is so small. Look at it. So I'm gonna have this made into a little pillow. So cute. And yeah, just stitched as charted. And this chart, I mean, I have never seen anything else to my knowledge from Beehive Needleworks. But here's the website if you're interested, beehiveneedleworks.com. And I would think that you would still be able to get this. Very cute. So this was an easy little project, and it was nice just to get a finish, you know, very exciting to get a finish when you're surrounded by large samplers that seem to be never ending. Yeah, but I do love that. Okay, last sampler that I have to show you is the Innocence of Childhood, Caroline 1825. This is by Running with Needles and Scissors. This is a monochromatic sampler. The model is stitched on 5363 Sycamore Seed Pod by Legacy Linens. Now, when I ordered this a couple years ago from Hobby House, I did order the chart and I ordered Sycamore Seed Pod, but I did not receive Sycamore Seed Pod. I didn't know that it wasn't the right color linen. I just thought, oh, this looks different than what I imagined, and I started stitching on it. And then in talking about it, and after working on it for a while, I realized that it probably is Sandcastle, which is the same irregular count. It is 5363 and also a Legacy Linen, so it's gonna have the same feel. And I got confirmation from Katie Strachan, who knows more about Legacy Linens than anybody else that I know of. And she was able to tell me, yeah, it is Sandcastle, and there is a reason that it feels harder to stitch on than the other Legacy Linens because it has a variegation in color. Like, it looks like sand. So you have this base color that is a gray, taupey, tan color, but then as you get close to it, you see all these little tiny darker spots that look like darker spots in sand. And so because it is high count, because it is an irregularly woven fabric, it is difficult. It is. It's more difficult than stitching on anything else that I have experienced. But the look is nice. I'm happy with it. And when I picked this back up again a few weeks ago, I actually had worked on this before my last floss tube, but what happened was I ironed it and I put it over there. And so I'm recording my last floss tube. I'm, talking to you guys, showing me all my projects and everything. And then I get done recording and I looked over there and I said, you know what, screw it. I'm not gonna insert that. So I did work on this last month and a little bit this month as well. But I am using Swatsurfine in Noir, which is just black. And I'm using the Swatsurfine because not only is it on 5363 linen, which is pretty tight, pretty high count linen, but there is over one here. You can see there's this verse and the dedication there. It is in French, but there is an English translation included if you would prefer to use that. But I'm just going to stitch it as the original stitcher did. Yeah. So I'd say because I have, I'm more than halfway done with the border. I got that whole wreath done up at the top, including the initials in it. And I started the lettering. I think I only have, it's certainly less than 2 weeks to go on this. I would hope just about a week, maybe even less. I don't know. It seemed like when I was working on, so this is what I did most recently was the border over here, and it's regular, completely regular, very easy. I had like my system of doing these two borders down here, and I was buzzing right along. So yeah, we've got a car trip coming up, and I would love to be able to take that because it would be so easy to just work on that border the whole time, but it's super tight, so it's just not going to work as a car project. But hopefully within the next couple months, I will have a finish on that to show you guys. It would be nice. That is one of my older whips. I think I'm carrying that from 2024. So I have shown you guys all of my samplers, and the next thing I want to show you are my ribbon embroidery projects. What I did most recently was this piece. This is from a Mary Jo Hiney kit. Mary Jo and her daughter Claire, they run the business, and if you head to maryjohiney.com, you'll be able to see all the different products that they offer. They have kits, they also have supplies so that you guys can do your own thing. But Mary Jo very kindly reached out last month and offered to send me one of her new kits, and I chose this one. This is the Rambling Rose Heart ribbon embroidery kit. It came with the interfacing, the noir, this fabric here, this organza, and then all of the ribbon and the DMC that I needed to complete this. Now, in the Flosstube Extra that I did all about ribbon embroidery, I discussed the couple modifications that I made to this piece for me. Like I added these 3 red flowers here. I had some leftover red ribbon from another Mary Jo Hiney kit, so I added those in there, and I really like how they look. And then I added this charm. So I just want to say thank you, Lisa, for this charm. It went on here. I discussed this in the ribbon embroidery video, but I have charms that say 2024 and 2025, and I never put them on anything. So when I got that one from Lisa, I was like, I gotta remember to use this year. And so when I'm sitting here at my desk and I was, doing all these little leaves and flowers and things with the ribbons, that charm was sitting like right here, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put it on here because if I don't do it now, it might be another charm that's unfortunately forgotten and thrown in a drawer and will mean nothing because we're no longer in that year. What I should do is I should dig out those charms and just put them on a pin or something and put them on a little pillow or other little pieces that I know that I finished in whatever year that is. That's what I should do, so they're not just sitting there rotting. But this was really fun to do. If you are interested, please go ahead and not only check out my ribbon embroidery video, but please head to maryjohiney.com, because through the end of this month, February of 2026, if you use the discount code STITCHSTITCHBEAD, you can get 15% off of your order. Now, you have to spend minimum of $25, and it doesn't apply to Mary Jo's handmade items like her finished boxes and her one-of-a-kind limited edition pieces, but it goes towards kits and ribbons and fabrics and stuff, and she has a lot of really beautiful products on that site. So please go check that out. I will link all of the information below, and hopefully you can try this yourself. I had a lot of fun doing this. Now, I did this entire thing in one day. I would not recommend that. It was like all I did that day, and my shoulder hurt afterwards. But you could do it over the course of a week and do a little bit on it for a few days in a row and get it done. I would like to have this finished into a little pillow, but there are so many different things that you could do with her pieces. For example, this is from her Herb Bouquet ribbon embroidery kit. I did this, I don't know, a couple years ago at this point, and included in the kit were the DMC flosses, you can see for the stems, and the ribbons, and then this ground fabric. I ended up embellishing a little bit more. I had some leftover beads and sequins from her strawberry kits, which I made this strawberry recently, so I wanted to show you guys this as well. If you love these velvet strawberries, that's where I get the kits, from maryjohiney.com. So I had some extra, because she gives you plenty, I had some extra beads and sequins left over when I was putting this together, so I added some things here, put a little bead and sequin there in the center of the bow. And then additionally, because it's on this fabric that is kind of an even weave, I was able to stitch an A and an M on it there. And then I turned this in to a needle book. Now I have shown this before, and I did show it again on my ribbon embroidery video, but I wanted to show it here in case you guys hadn't seen it yet. I made this cord out of water lily silk. I just twisted and sewed it on. So yes, in this herb bouquet kit, you receive everything that you need to complete this piece here. I purchased additional Nawal fabric, and then I used Katie Strachan's method for finishing these needle books. She finishes the Stacey Nash needle books in this way, and that's what I used. I used her tutorial to do this, except I made a boo-boo and I had to add a button, but I think it was a happy accident. So, and then let me just show you this again, my latest Mary Jo Hiney Velvet Strawberry. She has Velvet Strawberry kits in a bunch of different color combinations. She's even got Halloween ones. So if you are into that, I got the Halloween strawberry kit. I haven't made any of those, but I made a bunch of just like traditional colored ones, like pink and red ones, and I've given a couple of those away, and they have been very well received. They, you know, they take however long they take to make, but then you end up with this beautiful finished thing, and I'm very happy with that. So again, all the information about that promotion will be in the drop down box below. Also, if you have any questions about anything else that I have shown in this video, I do try my best to put anything that you might need, even links to the particular products, in the drop down box below, so you can go ahead and check that out. And then that's really all I have to show you that I've been working on, and I don't have a ton of haul because the haul that I've gotten, well, I got the latest red box from Hands Across the Sea Samplers, the All Creatures Great and Small box. I received that last Friday, and I want to thank everyone on Instagram who participated in my poll. I asked if at some point after we're allowed to post images on social media, after Nicola has posted her own unboxing video, would you like an unboxing video from me? There were plenty of people who said, no, we'll just watch Nicola's, and that's definitely what I expected from at least some people. But there were plenty of people who said that they did want an unboxing video from me, and I even received some messages saying that I would like an unboxing video from you because yada, yada, yada. So I did record an unboxing video for that. And actually I had a lot of fun doing it, so I'm glad that I did it. But that will not be up on this channel for about a month because Nicola has said that, well, she's requested that anybody who has purchased a box not share anything on social media, YouTube included, until a month after all the boxes have shipped. Now, there are going to be people who are going to save their boxes for something later in the year. I saw something recently on Facebook in the Friends of Hands Across the Sea Samplers Facebook group. There's at least one woman who's saving her box until December. She did go through and pull out the vouchers so that she could use those, but she's not opening, she's not looking at any of the included charts until December. And I thought, how is she going, being in the Facebook group, how is she going to avoid spoilers? I don't know. And also, what kind of willpower must she have? Because it arrived on Friday and I opened that thing on Friday. The first box I got was the Words of Wisdom box. And I made that thing last 2 weeks. I opened it, you know, a little bit here and there, but psychotic. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? So didn't do that again this time. But anyway, this is just me telling you that in about a month, you can expect an unboxing video all about the latest red box. The only other bit of haul that I got was my Roxy Floss Co. one-of-a-kind Floss Club pack, and I received this just yesterday, and it's very Valentine's-y. So I'll go ahead and share the colors with you. This is Red Velvet. This is Kisses. This is Funfetti. And this is speckled, but it's hard to see. Oh, maybe you can see it there. Funfetti. And then these last four colors, I know they do look really similar. I think the differences are in the level of variegation. Like, to me, these two colors look very similar, but the variegation levels are different, and then these two to me look the same, but again, different variegations. This is Cupid's arrow. This is to me pretty heavily variegated. This is Aphrodite. This is Amore, if that'll focus. And this is Love. I got that package yesterday, and as I was opening it, I said, Ryan, guess what the colors are? And he's like, what am I guessing? And I said, well, this is my, you know, my Roxy Floss Co. surprise pack. I said, guess what they are? And he said, green. And I opened it up and I was like, you were wrong. He was like, well, I thought it was gonna be green because St. Patrick's Day is coming up. I was like, yeah, but it's the February floss pack, so. But that's it, that's all I have, so. Not a lot of haul. But the red box was haul enough for several months, I tell you that, so. I don't really have anything else to share. I think that's it. But I did want to reiterate, please go check out Mary Jo Hiney's website. The promotion for 15% off your order, you can use the discount code STITCHSTITCHBEAD. That is good until the end of this month, February 2026. And if you have any questions, please leave them below. You can also find me on Instagram at StitchStitchBead. I will also provide my email address below. And again, for those of you who are looking for a little bit of help, a little bit of direction on over one stitching or four-sided stitches or other specialty stitches like that, I do have several videos here on my channel that are geared towards those. If there is anything that you feel that is missing, you have any special requests for future videos, I'm happy to take those. I am planning on doing a video on satin stitches, and eventually I would like to do one on queen stitches. I just have never made a queen stitch, so I need to do that first, and then I can show you guys how I do it. But Nicola as well has tutorials on different specialty stitches on her own channel, as do many other stitchers. So if you need help, the resources are out there. But again, if you have any questions or special requests from me, please don't hesitate to leave those below. And I will see you guys again for my next regular Flosstube video, probably in about 3 weeks. Kind of depends on what I manage to get done in that time. But you can expect another Flosstube extra from me next Saturday, which would be, I think, the 21st. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy stitching.